flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Guyer.
Here.
Trustee Spurling. Here. Trustee Bauman. Trustee Youngerman.
Here.
Trustee Marisak.
Here. All right, we do have a quorum this evening. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Our first item is public comment period. This is a 2-minute opportunity for any member of the public to address the board on any topic. Now would be your time to come down to the microphone if you can state your name and address and your 2 minutes. Any interested speakers? Okay. All right, hearing none, we'll move on. I'll read the consent items and then entertain a motion for approval. We have minutes of the November 27th Village Board meeting, accounts payable through December 11th, accounts receivable for November of '23, the building report for November of '23, the water production report for November of '23, the reappointment of Mike Hammond to the Planning and Zoning Commission, Ordinance 2050 adopting a paid leave policy, second reading, Ordinance 2052 providing for the abatement of the 2023 tax levy. This is Series 2013. Item I is Ordinance 2053, providing for the abatement of the 2023 tax levy for our Series 2014 bonds. Item J, Ordinance 2054, providing for the abatement of a 2023 tax levy on a general obligation alternate revenue source bonds, Series 2017. K is Ordinance 2055, providing for the abatement of our 2023 tax levy for our 2021 bonds. And the last item is Ordinance 2056, providing for the abatement of the 2023 bonds.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
That carries 4-0. Thank you. All right, rolling into items for separate action. The first item today is a Resolution 2023-035, adopting the revised employee manual. Welcome.
Thank you, President Brawley. So before you this evening is a resolution adopting a revised employee manual. This was before you at the November 27th meeting where we outlined some of those changes, and I am happy to answer any questions that you have since then.
Perfect. Does this include any of the paid leave stuff that we just approved? Was that also
It
in here?
does,
Got
yes.
it. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
That carries 4-0. Excellent presentation. Thank you. All right, we're going to go a little bit out of order. Take item L next and bump that up. This is the award of a contract to Water Well Solutions in the amount of $299,980 for the rehab of well number 3. Director Wolf.
It's actually going to be Engineer Wallers.
Solid.
So as you all know, we normally process the well rehabs through our task order system, which we started to do in this case for well 3. And when we got the information back, as a matter of routine, we go through the unit prices to make sure they're competitive. We noticed a few things that we felt were not competitive compared to work we were doing in other communities. So after some discussion with the village staff and the water department, we decided it would be best to solicit another proposal from a contractor that we felt was qualified to do the work. And I think everybody knows that our wells are very important to us. The rehab process can be simple, but it is oftentimes complex, and you need a lot of expertise. There's things that come up that are not can be always anticipated. But we felt like Water Well Solutions, the contractor that we solicited additional pricing from, met that criteria. I know that's a departure from what we normally do, but we felt like the savings that was demonstrated through the process was too significant to ignore, approximately $166,000 in cost savings. I have put at your places a qualification packet from Water Well Solutions, and you'll note that they work for a number of municipalities in our area, so, this is a firm that we've worked with in other communities as well, so we feel confident that they can do the work. Again, we're not saying that we should abandon the task order system because it served us well in the past, and, we always check the pricing, so this is really the first time that we've uncovered any anomalies that we felt were worth challenging. So what we're asking for, again, after consultation with the water department and the village staff, would be to award the rehab work to Water Well Solutions, and this would be waiver of bid, again, because of the complexity and the critical nature of the asset.
Engineer Wallers, I have a question for you. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. That great catch that we could have a significant savings by checking with other service providers. My question is, I was under the impression that there were specific things that really only Lane Christian could do. Is that still the case for the very specific things?
It had been the case, and what we learned through the process is that this contractor can do the same type of work that we had thought was only something that Lane was capable of doing. So, and they have done it in a number of other communities.
So we have an alternative now.
Correct.
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank you.
And you're referring to the Byron Jackson.
Byron Jackson Motor, yes,
This is Mercury Seal.
it is.
Are we intending on replacing that with a double mechanical, or?
We hope not. We don't, until we pull it and have it serviced, we won't know for sure, but, and there is pricing for replacement, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to reuse the motor. It's been in service a long time.
Right, yeah, they last a long time.
Yeah, 1958, I think, is when it was put in service, so, yeah.
Later on in this meeting, there is a proposed tax levy where we have frozen the tax levy nine of the last 10 years. And I appreciate you looking at things, and you just saved us $166,000. And that allows us to be able to do that. So thank you on behalf of the residents and on behalf of the village board.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Mark.
Move to approve.
Second.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
And this is a waiver, so I need to vote yes. So that carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back up to item B tonight, ordinance 2046, adopting the tax levy for 2023.
Yep, so on tonight's meeting, we have the second reading of the property tax levy. This levy has been reduced from the original to capture only new growth. So just to recap then, the 2023 property tax levy request will be $2,492,100, and this is an additional $30,340 composed only of new growth. SSA totals will be $376,460 across the village's 13 SSAs to offset the costs of basin maintenance and landscape costs. So if you have any additional questions, I can take them at this time.
I'm going to stump you on the SSAs, not on purpose, I was just curious. The amount or rate of increase to the SSA, so, I pay into an SSA, how much should I expect that my
We
SSA
have
will go?
increased several of the SSAs to offset increased costs in those basin maintenances. We also have looked a little deeper into some of those items to see if, I believe some of those include park maintenance and sign maintenance, so we are increasing some of the SSA budget to offset those for future improvements that we have planned.
Got it. I feel like I should have asked this when Mark was here. Okay. Any other questions?
So move.
Second.
Go ahead.
Trustee Marisak. Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
It carries 4-0. Thank you. All right, rolling right into item C, approval of the TIF number 2 rebate. Director Maluski?
Yes. So in fiscal year '24, the village has collected just over $1.6 million in property tax increment for TIF 2. And per our agreement with the other taxing districts, staff has reviewed building permits and detailed EAV within the district to determine the rebate amount to other districts. Upon that review, we have identified several parcels that we will be retaining increment on, and that includes the Alcott Road LLC and Gas and Wash parcels. The village met with the other taxing districts at our joint review board meeting on December 4th, where we announced our rebate of $401,425. This is an increase of $149,000 over last year's rebate. The village will retain just over $1.2 million in the TIF 2 fund. The board has 14 days to object in writing to the information presented here, or you can direct staff to proceed with issuing the refund. Waiving the objection period will allow staff to issue the refund check to Kane County for redistribution to the other taxing districts. So if there are any questions, I can take them at this time.
Could you please repeat that part about the 149,000, and then what was the next number you said as well?
So last year's rebate was about $252,000 that we redistributed to those other taxing districts. So this is about $149,000 above that amount last year. So we will issue that check over to Kane County Treasurer, and then they'll look at all of the parcels within that taxing unit and then redistribute those funds to those taxing entities.
And then what was the number you said after that? I missed that.
The village is retaining just over $1.2 million in the TIF fund for future improvements.
Okay, and then I also had a question about the 4 new parcels that we are retaining in TIF 2 this year. You said Alcott LLC, Gas and Wash. Does that comprise all 4 parcels?
Alcott Road LLC has 3 parcels,
Okay.
and then the Gas and Wash parcel is also just a single parcel in there.
Okay, thank you.
Makes sense. Since Mr. Baumann is not here tonight, we don't need to take action on this, but I don't think that we can waive the 14 daes because he's not here. So I wouldn't want to do that to him. So
Okay.
in 14 days, you're good to go.
Okay.
Awesome.
So don't we still have to vote, though, to approve it?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Sure.
Second. Just without the 14-day,
Yeah.
waiving the 14-day, okay.
Okay.
Okay, Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
That carries 4-0. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, item D is a recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission of PZC 2023-016, annexation and rezoning for 1322 Watson Street, which is also the next 2 items as well. We'll discuss them at one time. Director Abt.
Yes, so the owner of 1322 Watson is looking to annex into the village and be zoned upon annexation in order to be able to switch to our water supply off of his private well. The property would be rezoned to R2 upon annexation. That's what the adjacent zoning is on the other side of Watson. His corner on that side of the street is not annexed into the village. So the Planning and Zoning Commission held their public hearing on December 7th and voted 6-0 to recommend approval of the annexation and rezoning with conditions. Those conditions being that the existing well must be properly abandoned in accordance with the County Health Department, and that should be completed within 90 days of the connection to our water system. And the second being that they get the proper Fox Metro inspection, since they are on Fox Metro sanitary at the moment, so that would require them being notified that they've switched over to being on water as well, so. And then the ordinances we have before you are for the annexation, and then the separate one is for the rezoning. So those are the two ordinances for you to vote on tonight, and since this is the last meeting of the year, we are asking for waiver of first reading.
Perfect. Questions?
No, would you like all three of them separately?
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve or accept the recommendation of planning and zoning?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and second on item D. Go ahead.
Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer. Trustee Spurling. Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Carries 4-0.
Motion to approve ordinance 2057, annexation of property?
Second.
Any discussion on item E? Go ahead.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
And
Give three, Pete.
recommendation of ordinance 2058?
Second.
This is item F. Any comments? All right, go ahead,
Trustee
Debbie.
Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Carries 4-0. Thanks, Sonia.
Thank you.
All right, you want to go ahead and talk about item G and H, which is recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission for the comp plan update for Orchard 30, and then the the enacting ordinance is the next item.
Yes, so we had our public hearing on the comprehensive plan update. Per state statute, we are required to have a public hearing in order to make any changes to our comprehensive plan. This is in response to our annexation of the 250 acres. One of the conditions of approval was for the comp plan to be updated to reflect the land uses and zoning that was approved as part of that rezoning and planned unit development. So the land use plan before you shows the changing of the land uses there on the north side, to remove the attached single-family heavy, or I should say, higher multiple-family zoning there on the north side to industrial to reflect what was approved, and then expands the B2, what is that called? I think we call it regional commercial? Yes, regional commercial there along Route 30 going north. So the updated plan will then have to be recorded with the county's office upon adoption.
Awesome. Was there any public comment at that meeting on
There was
this?
not.
Okay. All right, any questions?
No.
Comments, motion?
So moved?
Second.
This is item G.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
All right, that's 4-0.
For item H, ordinance 2060, recommendation to approve?
Second.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Carries 4-0. All right, rolling into item I today is recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission for PZC 2023-019. This is a variation at 160 Sherman Avenue. Director Apt?
Yes, so this was a housekeeping item. You had this before you a couple months back, approving special use for multifamily on a single-family lot. One of the things that we discovered in the review of that after the publication was made, that they did not meet the enclosed parking requirement for multifamily. So they have 3 enclosed spaces, so within the garage that's on the property, they are required to have 5 enclosed spaces. So this variance would bring it in conformance. Again, this was a condition of their approval that they would come back through and get this variance. Public hearing was held on the 7th, and the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval, 5-1 of the variance.
So this motion is accepting the Plan Commission's recommendation?
Yep, and then there's the ordinance.
Okay, so moved.
Second?
Any?
So
Discussion.
I do have a question.
Uh-huh.
Was there any comment in the public hearing?
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
All right, and then the enacting ordinance 2059, granting a variance from table 10.02.1 to the UDO for 160 Sherman Avenue, waiver of first passage on the second.
And I do have some questions.
I know we
noticed
got
that
a
it
motion first, just so we can get that out real quick.
So moved.
Move,
Second.
second? All right, go ahead, Dan.
I noticed that it said the Montgomery Countryside Fire Protection District's requirements of the property were made conditions of special use, and he's currently working on those requirements. Is the property in compliance with all of our ordinances and other conditions of the special use?
I believe we are still working with them on a shed removal, but outside of that, yes, everything's being taken care of, or they're at least meeting with the fire department regarding what they need to get their permit.
So does the special use take effect after they're in compliance with the fire department and removal of the shed and everything else? Or, and the reason I'm asking is the property's under contract for sale right now.
Yes, and everybody has been made aware of the requirements
Because
that have
it's,
to.
yeah, it's contingent, so if he sells it to a new owner, then how does that affect all this?
They will still be required to have all the conditions, and if they don't, then they would be subject to citation or having special use withdrawn.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions?
Nope.
Comments? Go ahead and call the roll. This is Jay.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
It's 4-0. All right, item K, ordinance 2061, granting a final PUD plan approval for Jericho Orchard LLC, Lot 2 Retail Center, waiver first, passage on second. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the next phase in the Ricky Rockets, then Gas and Wash Jericho Orchard development over on Orchard and Jericho. Phase 2 includes the retail center just south of the Gas and Wash piece. So they've submitted their final PUD plans for approval. They are in substantial compliance with the preliminary PUD plan, so we are recommending approval. We do still have some outstanding comments on some of the plans that need to be addressed. So we have those conditions of approval outlined in the ordinance. But this is the next step. Once they get their final approvals, they'll be able to move forward with their building permit.
Can I ask you some questions?
Mhm.
The, sorry if I just jumped right in. The access that they're doing to the south, is that at Rochester? Is that at the signal?
Yes.
So that'll be constructed as part of this?
Yes.
Awesome. The retail center, the only way in is off of the internal access drive. They don't access the rear access drive at all.
Correct.
Did you,
I think because of the drive-through. So the original PUD showed that access coming off
Got it.
that drive as well.
okay, will they have cross-access to the next parcel south?
We will try to incorporate that, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I go to a Subway like this. That's the only way in or out. So, used to go to the Subway. I don't go anymore.
There we go.
Okay, any other questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
That carries 4-0. Because this is a final PUD plan approval, did this go to planning and zoning? No. Got it, just a board level.
Mhm.
Okay. The last item for separate action tonight is item M, the approval of purchase from Curry Motors for a 2023 Ford Transit van to be used as an evidence response vehicle in the amount of $49,995. Deputy Chief, come on down. Good to see you.
All right, thank you, Village President. Good evening, trustees, colleagues, Village Administrator. As the Village President mentioned, we are seeking approval from Curry Motors for a evidence response vehicle in the amount of $49,995. The VERF fund has $50,000 allocated for FY24 for this transit van. This covers only the cost of the vehicle. We will be looking for an additional $12,000, which is needed to upfit the van for operation. However, we will be finding items to offset the $12,000 out of the operating budget to cover those costs. We'll be working with finance to identify and transfer funds to the VERF to cover the build-out costs so we can have this vehicle operational this fiscal year.
When are you expecting delivery?
They are waiting to hear our response.
So they have it?
Yes, they have the vehicle. That's kind of why this happened so quickly, because we've been looking and looking and finally have availability. But as soon as, if it's approved, we would get it as soon as possible.
Okay, great, thank you.
So this is under the $50,000 that you had budgeted, the approximate upfitting of $10,000. You'll be finding other places in the budget to cut to hit that.
Yes, I'm working with finance to transfer that to the VERF to cover it.
Good deal. Do you currently have one of these
We do not.
for evidence?
No.
I know we have some of the transits, or we used to, right? Yeah, for building. Yep.
Yeah, no, we do not. And obviously, this would help expedite crime scenes and any processing for evidence, so something definitely be utilized. Yeah. Mhm.
Who would have thought the Ford Transit?
I know.
It's just in high demand, so.
Yes.
All right, sir, thanks.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll?
Trustee Marisak. Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
4-0. Thank you. All right, we don't have anything specific for discussion. Anything new or unfinished?
I have an item. I spoke with Village Administrator Zoffel and also with Director Wolf earlier today. And I told him I would be bringing it up under new and unfinished business. One of the crossing guards over at Lakewood Creek Elementary had asked me if we could get signage that is like the signage at Concord and Lakewood Creek, where the stop signs illuminate, right? They blink at their crossing stations for the two crosswalks that go into Lakewood Creek Elementary. And in my discussions with Director Wolf today, he's checking into the cost of that, and I told him that if find out the cost, and if we were going to do that, if it was the wish of the village board, that we would probably do that at all the schools related, not just Lakewood Creek Elementary. We would do it at Caneland, we would do it at, I think, Krug, and whatever other schools there are. So he's checking into the cost of that, and should be able to have some pricing to us, I would think, if not the next meeting, surely the meeting after that.
Cool. Thanks. Anything else? All right. You can see future meetings there. We are done having meetings for this year. Our next village board meeting will be January 8th in this room at 7 PM. Just would like to make one comment quickly. I know this time of year is insanely busy for everyone to do things, get out, holiday parties, finish up your shopping, all that kind of thing. But I would encourage and implore everybody just to take a moment, like take a breath, think about, what you have, what you're thankful for, because the moment's going to fly by quickly. Before you know it, it's going to be January, and none of us are going to be happy to be here. So with that,
You know what, I apologize, because I do
Yeah.
have one. The tree lighting ceremony
yes.
this past Sunday was great, well-attended. I'd like to commend staff on putting it together. Community development staff went over to a Trevete and was serving chocolate. Gray's Mill helped participate. Christina and her team, and Public Works decorates downtown and does a fantastic job, and I just want to call that out and say thank you for all of that effort.
100%.
And Santa was awesome.
Santa's cool.
Santa's cool.
Great weather, too.
Yeah.
That didn't hurt either.
That's it.
Cool. Anybody want to make a motion then, or?
So moved.
There you go.
Second.
All right. Go ahead and call the roll.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
And we're adjourned. Thanks for coming.